Welcome to Book Huddle. I am thrilled to have Lynn Hawthorne on today. I just was reading one of her books the other day and it had me laughing out loud. Let me read this because I think it just puts it into words so well. She is driven by a desire to encourage early independence in kids. She writes to infuse grace, fun, and positivity into everyday tasks, tools mom can use to develop character in their children. Her mission is to create a series of humorous children's books written to build relationships and foster meaningful conversations about responsibility as kids grow. I loved it. I love that there's the humor in it and it's teaching the kids this responsibility, because the book I was reading is Mom's Not Wiping Your Bum. I was just cracking up, especially because, we are just finishing the stages of potty training where we're trying hard to get her to wipe her own bum. So it was especially relevant. I loved it. I was laughing like crazy. And then you had your other one, Gloria B as well, right? And
Gloria B. And just came out with the second Mom's Not Cleaning Your Room.
I was like,
Whee!
oh, yay.
Yay!
Yay. Oh, I love it. This is awesome. Okay, so I'm guessing some of this is because of personal experience then, Lynn. Am I right? Is this where this is coming from you being a parent?
It
What?
is, and it's also and I remember also kind of from childhood, like um it's oftentimes like we look at the behavior of our kids,
Right.
and it's often that we are praised when we are the ones who stay in our lane, right? Because that's easier for parents when kids are when kids are compliant and they'll stay in their lane. However, what we do know is that typically the world changers are the ones that, they're going to fight us on things.
Yes.
And they end up a lot of times being um, eh, pushing toward more independence. And my thought is, let's just let them have that
Yeah.
with different choices that we can give them that obviously directs where we want them to go.
Yes.
And so, the first time that we see signs of our kids wanting to do something themselves,
Right.
um, give them a framework and then let them go at it. It may get messy. It may not be perfect. And the biggest struggle in my house this summer was helping them pick up, right?
Yes.
And I would look at my husband when he came in and wow, the house looked kind of the same. And I'm like, well, we just picked up for 6 hours,
Yeah.
you know?
Oh my goodness. Yes. And
And
it's,
so it's not so much about the end result. It is about the try. You know what I'm
yes, and
saying?
about them learning and feeling that independence, because it
Yeah.
takes so much less time if I do it myself. And we want that
So
bum cleaned,
much.
and we want that bum cleaned right. And or whatever
Right.
it is, the room, the kitchen, the dishwasher, like we do better job at it because, well, quite frankly, we're adults. But if
Right.
we want them to be successful, capable people, they need to know how to do it. And the first step is just doing it at all, right?
Right. And this is also born out of, I will be 100% straight up. I don't love doing some of these things. These are like basic tasks that I'm writing about.
Right.
It's not cleaning your room, wipe your bum. Like, I've got not, mom's not feeding your pet. Like these are basic childhood. Oh, mom's not dragging your bag. Mom's not doing your homework. Right. It's
Right.
all said in jest. And I think that um, that kids, we don't give them enough credit, not just for being responsible for some things, but also their sense of humor. Like
Right.
kids know it's funny, and you don't have to walk on eggshells all the time.
Yes.
And we rib each other in our family, and really, it becomes so much easier to tackle some of these um, sometimes drudgerous things
Yes. If you've got a
when
sense of humor with it.
if you have a sense of humor and you approach it from a light perspective. And I think when writing all these books, that was my intention, is
Good.
to approach personal responsibility with a sense of humor
Right.
and some humility that mom and child can share.
Yes.
And it just takes a slight shift in attitude. And it's less about the task and more just about approaching. For example, the other day I was at the park, and a mom saw my youngest run up to me, Mom, I gotta go potty. She's been potty trained about a year now.
Right.
So she looks at me, she goes, oh, I am so dreading the potty training.
Right. Because it's
And I
stressful.
look at and I look at her and I said, you're gonna do great. It's not even a thing. And I gave her just a couple of tips that other fabulous moms had
Right.
given me that made it so much easier for me. But when we as the parent approach it with kind of this heavy, like, kids
It's
can
such a big
kids can
check.
feel that. They know it, they can feel it. And so that's the intention of this particular book series is just, hey, let's go.
Yes.
Let's be silly about it. Let's joke about it. Let's not take everything so, heavy and so serious. And so that was kind of the history of why they were born, I guess.
I think attitude does make such a difference. And I've been having a struggle with mine. She was doing pretty good and now she's not. And I think a lot of it was the stress of a move. And so
Oh, big life change for
yeah,
sure.
big life change can
For
really.
sure.
And so I took a step back. I did a video, I'll include in the links where I'm telling people about different potty training books that just like
Hmm.
picture book about the subject, not like how to, but the picture book
Sure.
to the child. And but I was like, but at the end I was like, but you know what? There's no way to force your child to potty train. This is a bodily function, and you cannot force this on your child. You can bribe, you can educate, which is a big one, the educate. And I love what you're saying. You can have this great attitude about it and not make it such a chore and a hard thing. And that book was so refreshing to read. I was just
Thank you.
loving it when I was reading. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to share this with Adelaide because, yeah, it is just let's all just chill because we get uptight
Yeah.
about these things and it is like because we're back in pull-ups and pull-ups hold less than diapers and last week she had diarrhea and whoa sharing too
Oh
much
my
and
gosh,
it was
it
just
is. It's
oh my
frustrating for the parent.
yes
However, it, you're approaching it correctly. Let's say we have backsliding. You go back to square one, and
right
that's okay.
yeah
It's not any sort of like failure, or you just go back to square one. Um, I know people always say like, you can't compare dogs and kids. I disagree because we had dogs prior to kids. I
uh-huh
mean, it's the same thing. Like they understand like just consistency and basic commands. Like the dog starts having potty training issues. You go back to square one. You
yes
remind them all the time. You take them outside. It is not a shameful thing. It is
yes
it is simply
exactly
what you want to do to refocus
yeah
like both you and the child, and then you move forward.
yeah
No shame.
yeah I'm big on do you know what I know you can do this is hard on you but you'll get through this is okay I'm not mad at you and so
Right.
yeah like here we go again it does
Mm-hmm.
start over but to
Yeah.
I love that it was a good thing for me reading this and just because I was reading it last night when I'm going to bed and everybody else is supposed to be quieting down and I was just like yes yes the humor it was just so refreshing and so you guys I'm just saying check out Lynn's books. This is so fantastic. So
Thanks, Karen.
we've talked about yearbooks, and I really hope that people check out these links and learn more about your books and buy them for their kids. But what else can you
Thanks.
share with us? A book besides your own that you have loved? What's a favorite book of yours?
Oh, Karen, I have an older one. I don't even think it's in print anymore.
Okay.
And I think like most parents, and I would say most kids, I love books that have a message that is not slap you in your face,
But yes, it's so awkward.
Yeah.
It's like pushing that there. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's called Good Neighbors. If anyone watching wants to go, and I think you can probably look on Amazon and find old copies or something. It is one of our favorite books. Um, it was done probably 50 years ago, and my grandmother read it to me.
Yeah.
And now that we live in Arizona, it makes more sense. But the setting is in a desert setting, and it's got Mouse and Ratty,
All right.
And Mouse has a well-kept little home and everything looks perfect.
Mhm.
And then Ratty, the next door neighbor, moves in and he's a pack rat and he's got like, you know, cactus leaves thrown everywhere and it kind of looks like a dump. And Mouse goes, you know, that's that looks like a dump. And had a few interactions and Ratty's real friendly and Mouse is a little bit more reserved.
Right.
And then Ratty starts telling him about a badger that lives in the area. And badgers evidently like to eat mice, pack rats. And so the story goes on where Mouse is out gathering, whatever they gather at night.
Yeah.
And the badger comes out and starts chasing him. And Ratty comes to his rescue because the badger has ignored his house and he comes to the rescue and like pulls Mouse out of his house, saves the day, and then the two become fast friends even though they're so different.
Lovely.
But the message is just it's kindness and it's working out differences.
Yeah.
And so often we try and avoid conflict instead of this was showed conflict between neighbors and then they become friends because of the usefulness, I guess you could say, of those differences.
That's
And
awesome.
it's just the most fabulous little book.
I love it. I love it. I'm gonna have to look it up because you can all still find those out of print. Yeah. Somebody else had shared with me one from the 50s about this horse that was the main character in a night. But it's so fun, these ones that I had never heard of. So I'll look that up and I'll share when I find it, I'll share it in the link below so that everybody else can find and
thanks.
learn about good neighbors for sure. Thank you so much for being on with us today, Lynn.
Thank you, Karen. I enjoyed myself and I just love books and all the things that comes with them, the love that you can share with your kids, the messages that can be conveyed and wrapped up in a nice little package.
Yes. Without, like you were saying, without being in the face, like having fun with it. I love the humor. Just love it.
Yeah.